Hello students, today we are going to study about simple permanent tissue. In the previous video, we studied about tissue, the plant tissue, animal tissue and how they are different from each other. In this video, we'll be studying about permanent tissue, mainly about simple permanent tissue and about epidermis. As you all know, the plant tissue are classified into permanent meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. The meristematic tissue are further classified into apical, lateral and intercalary. So, we have studied about meristematic tissue in the previous video. Today, we are going to study about simple permanent tissue. So, the word permanent itself suggests that it is full final. No changes can be done in this. So, the permanent tissue are further classified into simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue, where simple permanent tissue are further classified into parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma, and the complex permanent tissue are further classified into xylem and phloem. Today, we are just focusing on simple permanent tissue and its classification. Before heading towards simple permanent tissue and its classification, let's study about how a permanent tissue is formed. So, what can you see here? Yes, this is a cell which is dividing. So, what has happened over here is that the nucleus of a cell is getting divided. So, it gets divided in such a way that it forms two different nucleus and gets separated from each other. They start developing a new cell wall in between each other. So, this process where a nucleus is divided into forming two other nucleuses are known as cell division. So, the meristematic tissue due to the cell division helps in the growth of plant. So, we can say due to the cell division, the growth of plant is possible. So, let's just compare this plant tissue with our human body nature. So, in the figure, what do you observe? From a child, the person has grown into an adult, right? So, as you can see, from the child to the teenage, the height is growing. But as soon as you reach your adult age, is the height growth possible after that? No. Because the height is permanent after the age of 21 to 25. After that, you cannot increase your height. So, what has happened? Now, your height is permanent. In the same way, the plants also divide and grow. After a certain period of time, what happens? This cell, this meristematic tissue, loses its ability to divide and grow. So, what happens to that? They form into a permanent tissue. So, when a meristematic tissue loses its ability to divide, they form permanent tissue. This process where a meristematic tissue converts itself or attains a permanent shape, size and function is called differentiation. Or you can say the meristematic tissue differentiate to form permanent tissue. So, now you understood how a permanent tissue is formed? Yes, when the meristematic tissue loses its ability to divide, they form permanent tissue. So, now let's see the differentiation or classification of permanent tissue. So, as we have seen earlier, the permanent tissue are classified into simple and complex, where the simple permanent tissue are further classified into parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma tissue. So, we are going to study about each of this tissue in detail. So, let's just start with the parenchyma cell. So, the parenchyma cell, as you can observe here, there are gaps in between the cell. So, these are having greater intercellular space, means between the cell there is space. So, they are mainly used for supporting plant and also for storing food. So, they have thin cell wall, they are living cell and they are loosely packed. So, as they are loosely packed, they have greater intercellular space. What is intercellular space? The space between two cells. Means they have gap between two cells. Where two cells join, they have gap in the middle. And what is the function of this parenchyma cell? Yes, they provide support and also store food. So, in some situation, this parenchyma cells contains chlorophyll. So, what is the function of chlorophyll? Yes, the function of chlorophyll is to help in the performance of photosynthesis, which help in the production of food. So, the parenchymatic cell or the parenchyma cell that consist of chlorophyll pigments are known as sclerenchyma. So, the parenchyma cell that contains chlorophyll are known as sclerenchyma. Now, you might have observed some aquatic plants like lotus, lily. What happens? They float on water. What help it float? So, the leaves of such plants have higher air cavity, means they have a space where air is filled. Due to that, they give a buoyancy effect. Buoyancy effect means the tendency to float over water. Okay, so the aquatic plants float because their leaves have air cavity. So, such parenchyma are known as parenchyma. So, the parenchymatic cell which has air cavity and are present in aquatic plants are known as parenchyma. Okay, so what is the function of parenchyma? To store nutrient and to give support. So, when you observe it, these are some of the images of parenchymatic cell. When you observe it, you can see there is space between the cell. So, this is how a parenchymatic cell look, and the cell wall of parenchyma are thin. Now, let's study about the next simple tissue, that is collenchyma. So, the collenchyma has less intercellular space, means the space between the cells are less. And what happens? When you see the figure, can you see the parts that I have circled? Yes, which are these parts? They are the edge of the cell. The edge or the corners of the cell are normally thick. As you can see, the corner of this cell is thick. So, the collenchyma cell, the corners or the edges are thicker than the other parts. So, the collenchyma cells have thicker corner. They are mainly gives you the flexible. They help in the plants to be flexible. You might have seen the young plants, they can bend. That's because they have collenchyma and they also give support to the plant. Okay. Now, as you can see, there is a very little intercellular space and they have the thickened corners. So, this is the collenchyma cell. Now, what is the function of the collenchyma cell? Yes, They give support and they help in bending or giving flexibility to the plant. Now, which is the next one? Yes, this is sclerenchyma. So, sclerenchyma are long. As you can see over here, they are long and narrow. They are narrow, but they are dead. So, this is the difference. Simple permanent tissue. As you had seen earlier, the parenchyma and collenchyma are living cells. But here, the sclerenchyma is a dead cell. Okay. Now, the cell wall contains lignin. So, what is the function of lignin? The lignin is like a cement. What do you need a cement? Yes, it fills the gap between the bricks and it gives them, yes, it hardens and gives them a support. The same way the lignin acts as a cement. It gives them strength and hardness to the plant. This tissue, where is it present? It's present in the stem around vascular bundles. What are vascular bundles? They are the bundles or the pipe that helps to transport the minerals and water from root to leaf and leaves to other parts of the body. They are like veins that we have in our body. Veins or the blood system that we have in our body. Same way, the sclerenchyma, the plant have vascular bundles which transport nutrients that the plant require. So, where are the sclerenchyma cells present? They are present in stem and around vascular bundle and also in the leaves vein and in the hard covering of seeds and nut. So, if you see a coconut, the outer surface of the coconut is hard. That is due to this sclerenchyma. These are the sclerenchymatic cells that you observe in the coconut. So, the hard covering of the nut and in the stem and around the vascular bundles, you have this sclerenchyma cell. And what is its function? It provides strength to the plant. Now, the last topic is epidermis. What is epidermis? The outer covering of the plant that you observe is known as the epidermis. It's like a layer that is over the plant. So, why is this epidermis important? It helps the plant in water loss. If at any situation there is less water and the plant needs to save it, this epidermis helps in retaining the water, in sustaining the water in the plant. And it also protects the plant from insect and various other factors. Like we have a skin, the plant have epidermis, a layer of cell over their body. So, the best example of epidermis is the plant that lives in dry habitat, like the cactus. They have thicker epidermis as they need to retain the water loss, because if they lose the water, they will not be able to survive in that hot climate. As you can see here, this is the epidermal cell of a plant, of a leaf. So, what does this epidermal cell do? As you know, over the epidermal cell, there is stomata. What is the function of stomata? To take in and give out water. So that the plant do not lose water, these epidermal cells secrete a waxy layer. So, the waxy layer, what does it do? It protects the plants from, it protects the plants from the loss of water. And it also protects from any other parasitic fungi or any other infection affecting the plant. So this epidermal cell has the protective role to play in the plant. Okay, so as you can see here, this is an epidermal cell. They are continuous and they do not have an intercellular space. They are closely packed. So the epidermis secrete a thick waxy coating that is known as cutin. In desert plants, the epidermis release a thick waxy coating known as cutin. Now, let's just revise what we learned. We learned about the simple permanent tissue, the three types of simple permanent tissue, that is parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. So, what is the characteristics of parenchyma? They have thin primary cell wall and they are used in photosynthesis and storage and also for support. The collenchyma are elongated cell. They are uneven primary cell and they are used in support in stem and leaf. And sclerenchyma, it is also elongated cell. It is thick secondary wall. This is a primary wall. This is the thick secondary wall which is dead. The parenchyma and collenchyma are living cell. But sclerenchyma cells are dead cell. They are mainly used for support. Always remember, the dead cells are mainly used for the support system. So this is about the simple permanent tissue. I hope you all understood. Thank you and have a nice day.